winning this fight tonight with our name lit up in lights. We are the new kings, winning this fight tonight with our name lit up in lights.
Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger. Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich is back. 3 chicken strips, signature buffalo sauce, and buttermilk ranch. Available for a limited time.
It's time for another edition of Friday Night Stars, brought to you by Whataburger from inside the Globe Life studios here at the beautiful Star in Frisco. Bill Jones along with Kyle Youmans as we get deeper into the month of October. Postseason looming in a few weeks. Some key district matchups this week. It is a great time of the year, although the last couple of days it's felt like summertime around here.
Finally, we talked about it a little bit last week. It's still hot, and it's that football weather. It's finally starting to creep in from time to time, but it's just not consistent yet. We're in week 9. We're starting to keep that expectation where the high school coaches are. It's time for some consistency here, and I need the consistent football weather to stick around.
You know, 2 teams that are playing very consistently this season are our 2 featured games in our Whataburger Game of the Week in District 6-6A, a battle of Eagles. Prosper High School at Allen High School. Let's hear from the Eagles from Allen.
We love each other. It's a brotherhood. We know that each guy knows that if they do their job, the guy next to them and the other 10 guys on the field are going to do their job. We have a great defensive coaching staff. We believe we have the best defensive coordinator in the state, and amazing position coaches that prepare us week in and week out. They shoot us the game plan, and all we got to do is execute it.
That just shows that we're all locked in, especially during practice, and next man up mentality as well. If someone were to go down, I mean, we've stayed consistent. I would say we need to start a little bit faster at the beginning of games, but besides that, I feel like I've been satisfied with the offense.
Unbeaten Allen will have its hands full, though, with these Prosper Eagles, Kyle.
Well, and they have over the last 3 years. Prosper has won this game 3 straight seasons, 28-23 in 2021, 29-24 in 2022, and then in last year's matchup, it was an all-time classic, 37-36, the final score. So the one thing you can guarantee, at least out of those 3 scores, is the fact that it's going to be a close matchup. The same thing can be said this year as well. This is a Prosper Eagles team that likes to spread the running game around. They've got 3 different backs with over 250 yards of total offense on the ground. Then you've got a quarterback in Braden Imhoff, who has 1,700 passing yards and 20 touchdowns through the air. Prosper is legitimate, but this is kind of starting to feel like the Allen team we know of the past, a team that's always going to be a state power and has been a perennial talent year in and year out. Now they've, after a little bit of a time off, and they've maybe taken a step back. Still a great program nonetheless. They're back to being contenders. Brady Bricker at the quarterback position is completing 70% of his passes. He has 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on the year, and they're putting up phenomenal points on the defensive side. This is a defense that loves and thrives off of the takeaway. They're going to try and force a couple of them against the Eagles.
And Allen with Micah Ellis at running back. And, you know, the thing about Prosper, they got those big old guys up front, including Connor Carty, a Texas A&M commit, who is 6'4", 285 pounds, and he's not the biggest guy on their offensive line.
Yeah, look at Logan Cahill as well, 6'3", 285 pounds, Sam Houston commit. They've got a couple guys up front that they feel really, really good about, and they run behind them. That's why they do have one of the top rushing attacks in the state.
All right, they just grow them bigger in Prosper. Apparently.
Part of it, right?
They grow the stadiums bigger in Allen and Prosper as well. All right, let's go to a big rivalry matchup this week in District 5-6A, the battle for the axe. It's the Marauders of Marcus High School traveling across town, a very short trip to Flower Mound High School to take on the Jaguars.
Yeah, you look at the win-loss record, push that to the side because this is still a high-end matchup in District 5-6A. It could very easily dictate some of the playoff positioning inside that district as well, at least in recent memory because of guys like Garrett Nussmeyer playing the quarterback position. Flower Mound hasn't had the same success as Marcus has in this rivalry. They've lost 4 of their last 5, but going back all 20 of their last meetings, it's 11-9 overall. So really 2 tightly contested programs over the last 2 decades. Flower Mound has some firepower, and they're going to look to try and combat that because Marcus on the opposite side has another Nussmeyer playing some pretty good football at this point in time. It's Colton Nussmeyer completing 57% of his passes, 1,200 yards passing. He's got 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Marcus doesn't have the same firepower that they once had, but don't sleep on the younger Nussmeier brother. They still can put up some numbers.
And both teams still jockeying, trying to get into the postseason in a very competitive District 5-6A. Marcus was able to squeak in last year. Flower Mound may have the upper hand this year. How about this matchup as we go down in classification to Class 5A, District 6-5A, Division 1, a battle of unbeatens, the Creekview Mustangs out of Carrollton against the West Mesquite Wranglers.
Wait, did you just say a battle of unbeatens between Creekview and West Mesquite? I mean, it's unbelievable, the stories behind both of these programs. And we really mentioned this earlier in the season on Friday Night Stars, that this could be a possibility, and it looked like if those teams continued to win, that they would be on a beeline course to try and win the district title in a game like this. Well, guess what? We're here. Now you've got an opportunity to see both of these teams play after it. I got to give Carrollton Creekview credit, because early in the season, when we were talking about some of their other matchups like W.T. White, R.L. Turner, some of these other challenging teams, they've played better and better as the season has gone on. West Mesquite, on the other hand, has really kind of just blanked opponents as of late. They haven't allowed a point since September 20th. They blanked W.T. White, they blanked R.L. Turner, and they did so against Brian Adams as well. 3 straight shutouts. This West Mesquite team is the real deal, and they're going to continue that this week against Carrollton Creekview.
The other interesting thing about this matchup, these are 2 first-year head coaches. Yeah. Of course, Creekview had that 21-game losing streak coming into the season. Dusty Ortiz in his first year, and then Steven Jackson his first year at West Mesquite since coming over from Seagoville.
And the funny thing about this is these 2 teams haven't met since 2014. The last time they met, I was a freshman in college. There was a lot of things that have happened between now and then over the last decade, including these 2 teams going undefeated. I don't think anybody anticipated this when they matched up in the district schedule. First 3 games between these 2 all went in favor of West Mesquite, so it would be the first time that Carrollton Creekview would take down the Wranglers.
And finally, our 4th game of the week, we go to the District of Doom this year. That's District 4-5A Division 2. How about the way Todd Dodge's Lovejoy Leopards have been playing of late? 5-0 in district play against a second-year school, Walnut Grove, 6-1, 4-1 in district play, coming off its first loss of the season.
Yeah, Lovejoy is a freight train that is yet to be slowed down. We talk about the District of Doom. They say it's a district of no big deal so far for Todd Dodge and company. They defeat Anna. They defeat Melissa, both of which in high-scoring games where it took 40-plus points to get it done. Then they blanked Independence 70-0 on October 11th. And then against Emerson last week, by far the most impressive win of the year. Lovejoy takes the state semifinalists, and they beat them 48-7. That 5-game winning streak is against 4 teams that at least went 3 rounds deep in the playoffs a year ago, and they've got another great test this week against Walnut Grove, a team that I think very few going into the season anticipated as the front runner in this district. They're probably second now in the district. They had the big win against Emerson in classic fashion. They fell against Anna, their one slip up this year in a tight ball game, but Prosper Walnut Grove with a 1,000-yard rusher. Stop me if you've heard the name before. Cam Newton, not that Cam Newton, but he does have 17 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards rushing on the year.
And coming off a game in which he had 265 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns plus a 28-yard catch in that 55-41 loss to Anna.
And the best thing about Prosper Walnut Grove and what I've seen so far this year is they are exceptionally balanced. Not only do they have a 1,000-yard rusher, and of course they still have games to play in the regular season, but you turn around, you've got Hayes Hackney, who's completed over 64% of his passes. He's got 1,800 yards through the air, 23 touchdowns, and just the 4 picks. So they're very, very talented both ways, running and throwing the football.
This is going to be a district where a team gets left out of the postseason that in any other district in Class 5A, they'd be going to the postseason.
And probably winning postseason games, Bill. I mean, this is a really, really tough district. It hurts to even think about one of those teams, Emerson, Anna, Melissa, Walnut Grove, and then, of course, Lovejoy probably on the better end of that right now. They don't have to worry about it. But there's a team that's going to be left out in that district, and it's not going to be fun.
All right, we're just getting started on this week's edition of Friday Night Stars. When we come back, some great showdowns at the Star this week.
This segment was brought to you by Whataburger. Yes, it's true. All new iced coffee has officially arrived at Whataburger. Stop by and enjoy one today.
Youmans is about to make that stroll down the Nike Star Walk into Ford Center to call tonight's showdown at the Star. The Lone Star Rangers against the Wakeland Wolverines. More on that in a moment. Meanwhile, the Friday showdown. How about Melissa against Frisco Emerson, Kyle?
Yeah, this is going to be a battle for playoff positioning. We just talked about the District of Doom, District 4-5A Division 2. Lovejoy on top, Walnut Grove 1 game back. Melissa is tied with that Walnut Grove squad. Then it's Anna and Emerson. Emerson, who went to the state semifinals last year, has a shot to miss the playoffs. They need to win this matchup, and they need to win it badly.
All right, but back to tonight's fracas at Ford Center. Lone Star against Wakeland. Let's hear from the Wolverines of Wakeland High School.
The identity of our team, I think, is just to play as hard as we can for as long as we can. You know, we've got a great group of kids who understand what it takes to work hard, and they do a great job of going out there every Thursday or Friday night and putting it all out there on the field so that when they walk off the field, all I've ever asked for is their best, and they do a good job of giving their absolute best.
I feel we're pretty good. We work as a team. We communicate a lot. Everybody hustles to the ball, and that's how great defense is formed. We want to be the most physical, win the hitting contest, as our coach always says. Always try to out-effort and outplay the other team.
It's just mostly a team over me kind of tradition. That's our theme the past year and then this year is we over me. We always like to put our teammates first and other people first and kind of win as a team and celebrate as a team. We don't like to kind of celebrate by ourselves. We want to celebrate with our team because we know without everybody on the team, everybody doing their job, it's not possible to win and be a good team. Because, you know, everybody knows each other on the other team. You're kind of talking to them throughout the week, and then in the game, everyone's kind of talking back at each other, and then at the end of the day, it's all love between, you know, your friends you've been playing since 5 years old. So you've been knowing these guys since 5 years old. It's kind of fun to go and compete with them kind of one last time as a senior kind of thing.
All right, so you're ready for a rivalry game tonight, Kyle? In fact, that Wakeland team's won 3 straight games.
Yeah, this is really, it's a Wakeland team that came back and played well in the second half last week. They were down by 10 against the Frisco team that was running the football, dominating the line of scrimmage. They come back, they score twice in the fourth quarter in order to win it late, 21-20. It was a good game last week, their 3rd straight win. This isn't the same firepower that we've seen out of Wakeland the last couple of years where they've made a couple deep runs in the playoffs, and they've challenged Lone Star. They've split the last 2 games, Lone Star and Wakeland. Lone Star winning last year, Wakeland winning in 2022. But 9 out of the last 10 have belonged to the Rangers. So even though it is a rivalry, and you heard Ryder Treadway talking about it there, these kids know each other. These guys have played against each other and gone to school together and had extracurriculars their entire lives. It really is not a rivalry until Lone Star gives up a couple games. Wakeland's got to play with their chip on their shoulder.
Look forward to hearing Kyle Youmans' call on the game tonight inside the Ford Center. When we come back, let's travel to Arlington and check in on the Buie Volunteers in command in that district.
This segment is brought to you by Whataburger. Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich is back. 3 chicken strips, signature buffalo sauce, and buttermilk ranch. Available for a limited time.
Friday Night Stars continues here inside the Globe Live studios. Bill Jones along with Kyle Youmans. And now we head south to Arlington ISD, a very competitive district race going on there. But there's one team that's emerged over the others, and that is the Buie Volunteers. Let's take a look at those Volunteers led by quarterback Larry Trey Nichols, wide receiver Dylan Talley. They had a big 48-21 win over Arlington High School last week. This week they take on a surprising Haltom team that knocked off Arlington Martin last week. Let's hear from the Volunteers.
Got to maximize the opportunity now because, you know, the Lord has put us in this situation. Now let's do what we need to do to give us every opportunity to win the district title, and this will be the first one since 2012.
We did have a lot of guys fall down, but knowing that we had some of them guys come back for our first week of district, you know, we just building chemistry that whole week of practice, and it helped build and led us to, you know, that week 1 win.
It's a new group. We had graduated 8 seniors, starters, so it was hard. We just got to plug and play. So this experience over those 3 games led us to being 4-0 in district.
What's the makeup of this team?
Family. We all know what it is. We all family, we all brothers. Our motto is eat, effort, attitude, toughness. We stand on that.
Dylan Talley headed to Bowling Green. You take a look at the top 5 wide receivers in terms of receiving yards in Class 6A in the area. He's third on the list. More on Buie in a moment, but how about this list, including Quentin Gibson of North Crowley, 19 touchdowns, Kyle.
Yeah, he's electrifying. He's a little bit of a smaller receiver, 5'8", 165. That's why he's not getting the same looks as the LSUs, Alabamas, SECs of the world. But everywhere else in the country would love to have his services, and for good reasons. He is a speedster with those 19 touchdowns and counting. He had 12 of those in the first 4 games of the season. So an incredible season so far for Gibson. I really like Harry Hassman out of Coppell as well. The undefeated Cowboys have been winning some games because of the 3-star commit or non-commit. He's got a ton of offers around the country. 6'1", 180 pounds. Something to look out for out of that Coppell Cowboys passing attack as well.
And also on that list, Brock Boyd of South Lake Carroll, a junior receiver, big receiver who can stretch the field. He's already committed to TCU. But how about the Buie Volunteers and what they've been able to do?
I love it. And honestly, in the interviews, it's a little intimidating having the entire team.
They do everything as a team, including their interviews.
Phenomenal. I'm here for that type of mentality, and you can see it on the field from the 4-0 inside District 8-6A. The one thing you got to keep in mind with Arlington Bowie, they have 3 games left. South Grand Prairie, Haltom, and then they've got Arlington Lamar. 2 of those 3 teams, South Grand Prairie and Haltom, are the teams chasing them at 3-1. So they're 4-0. They have a win over Arlington, who's also 3-1, but they've got South Grand Prairie and Haltom hot on their heels. They got to continue playing good football.
Yeah, and they are playing good football right now. Another team playing good football with a nice quarterback too, the Coppell Cowboys. We check on them here when Friday Night Stars continues in a moment.
Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger. Yes, it's true. All new iced coffee has officially arrived at Whataburger. Stop by and enjoy one today.
The first half, we definitely were shooting ourselves in the foot. You know, with a great team like Louisville, you can't give them more opportunities because with that, how it is already, they're going to score and take advantage of stuff. So we definitely were shooting ourselves in the foot. And in the second half, Coach Riley kind of just talked to us. I was like, hey, settle in, play our game. Like, we've worked for this. We know what to do. And, we just went out there and executed.
How about the night Edward Griffin, the Coppell Cowboy quarterback, had last week against Louisville? He was 18 out of 20 for 460 yards and 6 touchdowns. He is the state player of the week in Class 6A.
And for good reason. A lot of times you hear it of having more touchdown passes than incompletions. That's a good one, right? But +4 in that category, you had 4 more touchdown passes than you had incompletions. That's incredible in terms of having the 6 touchdowns and just 2 batted down pass.
And take a look at this because Coppell played Louisville, and Louisville actually had the lead in this game, 14-13 at the half, but it was a Coppell onslaught in the second half led by Edward Griffin and the aforementioned in the last segment, Harry Hassman, where they outscored Louisville 42-14 in the second half.
Yeah, it's about time we talking some Harry Hassman. Mentioned him in the last segment. We got him again this time. 6 receptions, 217 yards. For those math wizards out there, that's over 36 yards per catch. He had 3 touchdowns, but he wasn't the only one that had 3 touchdowns as well. Give credit to Tucker Casano, 8 receptions for $150 and 3 touchdowns on the day. That's what I call a passing attack. I mean, they are air raiding it out in Coppell, and they know how to get behind the defense. It wasn't easy in the early going. I mean, like you talked about, the fact that they were down early, 14-13 actually at the half, but they put up 28 points, Bill, in that third quarter after halftime, and they didn't look back from that point forward.
How about the job Antonio Wiley is doing at Coppell? They were good last year. They may be even better this year as they are 7-0, 4-0 in district, and in a district that includes Denton Geyer as well as that Louisville team.
Yeah, and well, the last couple of games that they have are the Marcus and Flower Mound teams that we talked about in the opening segment. So right now they are in control of everything like they were in the regular season at 10-0 last year. They have a very good chance of doing so again this year. But it's really, you mentioned it, are they better than they were a year ago? I certainly think they are, just based off of the efficiency that they have on both sides of the football, but most importantly, what they can do in that passing attack. It's impressive what Griffin and company are doing.
And by the way, a shout out to Jason Witten's Warriors from Liberty Christian. I watched this one on NFHS last Friday night. They held off Parish Episcopal, the 5-time defending TAP state champion, and Liberty Christian has it rolling there in Argyle. For Kyle Youmans, I'm Bill Jones. Thanks for joining us here for Friday Night Stars. We'll see you next week on a Halloween edition.